Hello and welcome to WEEB-LY Reviews. We're back after a week off. I'm Matt.
And I'm Tyler.
Today we're going to be covering Volume 1 of Fire Punch. This is so cool, so twisted and dark, and it's from the same author that wrote Chainsaw Man.
My boy Totsky.
Yes, sir. Alright, so we'll go ahead and hop into this. We're only going to do Volume 1, but there's enough twisted and dark stuff in just Volume 1 to satisfy your needs.
Yeah, this is definitely a dark one. It's a hard read if you can't handle like gory and just overall
A lot.
Like, yeah, we'll get into it.
All right, so my take on it so far, it's kind of like if Stephen King wrote My Hero.
That's an interesting take. It's nothing like My Hero.
No, the base really is. People started being born with powers, the blessed, and like more and more people were becoming blessed. It's kind of like the beginning of people gaining quirks in My Hero, and that's pretty much where it ends. But like,
yeah, that's about it.
But like the dark, twisted part, the Stephen King part,
it really does dig into like a lot of social issues, and you got to remember Fujimoto was like a lawyer or something like that in Washington.
He
DC.
definitely pulled a lot of like bad stuff from his cases, I feel like, for the inspiration of this.
Not only this, but also Chainsaw Man. I mean, It's literally a law, manga.
Yeah.
I think he really does pull a lot from like what he's seen and dealt with as a lawyer.
So the way Fire Punch opens is literally this kid has a power, like a super regenerative power,
like,
and
kind of like Deadpool.
Yeah,
just to be relevant.
Like humanity, due to the Queen of Narnia, the Ice Queen, due to her, humanity is suffering and people are dying. There's no meat, no foods.
Pretty much everything's frozen.
Everything's frozen. So he's cutting his arm off in the very beginning of this to feed his village. But cannibalism is shunned still.
And something I think is cool is like, unlike something like My Hero, where they just get random quirks or whatever. The people, the blessed in this series, you can have like a similar, or I think it even says it, that each like high powered blessed ability has like another one.
Yeah.
Or am I going crazy?
No, not in Volume 1 at least.
Oh.
So essentially, like,
something else.
There can be duplicate powers. Like his sister is also regenerative,
but it's like a lot worse.
But like she doesn't regenerate nearly as fast. So
yeah.
So like,
which I hope that foreshadows, for the people there, like what is going to happen, because like once you start reading and you're like, oh my gosh, he's cutting his arm off on the first page, you kind of gotta expect it to have some like dark twists,
Yeah, definitely.
You gotta remember, this kid doesn't have family, it's just him and his sister
and the old people of his village. So like, then after you get through the village scene and you understand, okay, they're being ruled by this evil woman, you see the first set of the resistance army come through, and it's not a good resistance. It's just as evil as the woman that froze everything. It's just like, we're wanting to do it this way instead of her way. So it's hard to get into how bad Fire Punch really is.
Because I mean, before you even learn the the plot of the story, you're already dealing with things like slavery. You're dealing with cannibalism, yeah. And I don't want to deter people by saying this, but like even incest,
Yeah, the sisters suggest that they make a baby because they're the only young people left in the village.
It's nothing crazy, like,
But that's, yeah.
Nothing like Bungo, where they're genuinely doing stuff together. But it does have some graphic scenes in it whenever it comes to that.
Yeah, you meet this kid named Sun. Sun is like the light of the first volume. Like literally, his name is Sun, and he's the most lighthearted thing about the first volume, in my opinion.
It definitely is, but like at the same time, with what little you learn about his backstory, you know something is gonna like it's just dark. Like he's from like what he comes from. I think he's the one that his village sent him away.
Yeah, they sent him away, but they didn't send him away for the reasons that you think they sent him away.
No, they didn't. But he doesn't know that. That's the thing.
Yeah, but he has an idea, but he's also really dumb.
He's very dumb.
But yeah, so within the first volume, you see how he becomes known as Fire Punch.
Just to be clear, though, before we get into that, I do think that the character Sun isn't really dumb per se. I think it's more of a mental handicap, or mental disability or something. Just to be clear, I don't think he's necessarily stupid. So I think it's more of like maybe an autism or something along those lines.
Okay, see, I just saw it as like Rock Lee. Like he's kind of dumb, but he's cool and happy.
But he focuses on like one thing, you know, like whenever someone tells him like this is what's right, that's what he goes for.
Yeah. So yeah, within the first volume, you do go to the rebellion's fortress with Sun, and at the end of the first volume with Fire Punch per se. I can't remember his actual name. Good thing we have the volume. It's been a while since I've read it.
I want to say it's Aki.
Yeah, I think so too. He's looking it up now.
Sorry, I mean, you got me wondering.
I've just literally called him Fire Punch this whole time.
I don't think that's what he goes by.
It's not what he goes by.
Just like I can never remember the main character of Dr. Stone.
Senku. Come on now.
What the heck?
Either way.
Agni.
Yeah, you know what? That makes so much more sense.
I was thinking Aki from Chainsaw Man.
Like Agni from like Agni Kai. It's fire type.
I think the word means fire.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Agni, he does show up to the rebellion by the end of the volume, but that's as far as I've got reading it myself. So
you don't remember the part where they like continuously shoot? Yeah,
that wasn't in the rebellion like in their encampment yet. That was still outside of it before they took him there.
That's right, because
Sun's following him, tracking him through the snow.
No spoilers. He meets somebody that from his past at that point.
Potentially somebody from his past at that point. It doesn't actually show you.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it doesn't tell you.
He tells you his name, and then he uses his power.
Oh, I was thinking of a different character.
Oh, okay. So we weren't talking about the same thing. Either way,
when he gets there, like Sun's the first one there.
Did you explain how he became?
I did not explain that.
I don't think that's necessarily a spoiler because it goes back to like the blessed and each of their powers or whatever.
Okay.
So we won't go into like names or anything, but essentially something happens to his village, and he meets this guy who has like a fire.
It's pretty much a Amaterasu. It will not extinguish until it burns its target completely.
No. It's until it's extinguished. But like the source. So as soon as that guy dies.
Yeah, Amaterasu, the source.
Huh? Yeah, Amaterasu is like Itachi sends it, and it burns the target, and that's when it goes out. This thing is like he shoots the fire won't go out till he dies. So it's the opposite of all.
Oh, see, I read that completely backwards.
Yeah, so like that's why he's going for him. Just because he needs to kill him in order to like stop the fire. Or another reason. Like one of the other reasons is a big spoiler, so I won't talk about it. But
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I read that completely backwards then.
to be fair, I've only read the first volume. I could be completely wrong, but that's how I like interpreted it.
Yeah. So essentially, where he has super regenerative powers, he gets hit by said fire and burns alive for like 8 years. Yeah, for the rest of his life, or 85% of the manga, from what I've read.
Yeah.
So he's just continuously burning over and over for like an 8-year period until he learns how to control his power enough to hold the flames in certain areas of his body.
Yeah. He's on fire everywhere, but like his body is like used to it enough, right?
No, so he learns how to hold the flame, like his body's so far burnt, whatever, he can keep the flames retained to, say, his legs or this part of his body, because he learns how to control his regenerative power enough that it doesn't
touch like his face.
Yeah, it doesn't like ignite in these certain areas unless he wants it to.
So like he's on fire everywhere there.
Yeah, right there. But he talks about like he can control his power enough to control where the fire is spread on his body. So like whenever he's ready to ignite his fist, he'll let his body heal and he'll punch somebody with the fire.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. It has been a while since I've read it. Either way, for the most part though, like whenever he's just walking around,
oh no, he's on fire,
like all head to toe.
Yeah, generally he's on fire. It was just like a brief moment explaining it because he was like his legs were the only thing on fire whenever he explained that.
So also he couldn't walk for like 8 years. Like he couldn't.
Yeah.
He was like continuously dying and regenerating. Yeah. Again, like think Deadpool. I think that
yeah, like he was basically dying, but he wasn't really.
Yeah,
dead.
He would just regenerate every time.
Every time, like it's really cool. Fire Punch. On the dark and twisted side of it, though, like there's a moment in it whenever you first meet the Rebel Force, like they try to force the kid to drink pee, and the kid doesn't drink pee, so they're gonna kill all the slaves because he wouldn't drink the piss, and it's wild.
Plus, you meet the doctor dude.
Oh, the doctor dude toward the end of the volume, and that would be a spoiler. I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Yeah, because it is pretty rough. You should take it as a warning. If you don't want to hear it, then go ahead and skip past this.
So essentially, the doctor dude, whenever Sun and another girl gets taken to the rebellion city, he has 2 dogs. Dogs are illegal to own as pets except for to him. Well, his whole thing is Sun's job and the girl's job is to sleep with the dogs. And he watches and, it's 2 male dogs, so he does science on it, is what he says. And when they try to escape, the first thing you see is Sun try to run and getting his legs like chopped off just because.
Yeah, like Deku style with his arms, yeah.
Gone.
Manga spoiler again, my bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that part. Thanks, pal. But yeah, so it gets really twisted, and you have a child that's unknowingly, I guess this does play into like it might be a mental disorder, unknowingly like, oh, this is what he means, like take my butt out, like, you know what I mean? Like it's
terrible.
It's terrible, but it's such a good read, and you can engross yourself into the read overall.
Yeah, again, I really do think that Fujimoto is like taking things from his experience, as a lawyer, because you see some really dark stuff depending on like what kind of lawyer you are. So. Yeah,
and seeing how it's bad enough that I don't see this getting an anime adaptation.
Oh no!
And that's just the first volume.
Yeah, they're definitely not getting an anime adaptation.
I know there's
longer than Chainsaw.
I know there's been rumors. There was some rumors for it swirling around in like 2021. And rumors are rumors, but like they never got any footing. Shonen talked about it once, I think, is where the rumors began.
Yeah, I'm surprised they even like have it available to read, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Shonen talked about it once, and that's where rumors began, but it was pretty much just dropped immediately, from my understanding. So
Yeah.
this is for manga readers. You won't have an anime adaptation of this, like 99% sure.
And there's like zero comedy in it. Like if you're expecting it, like if you read or watch Chainsaw Man and you expect it to be, you know, quirky and still dark at the same time, no, dude, it's like straight, like
Darkness.
like it's a hard read.
The only lighthearted / comedic moments is the character's son.
Yeah.
But whenever he's being lighthearted and comedic, he's going through some dark shit that he just doesn't understand.
Yeah. Now that we've given like the plot and like some thoughts about it, what would you rate it out of 10? Because that's how we rated Dandadan, right? Out of 10.
Yeah, it was out of 10. Just off of volume 1 of Fire Punch, I'm gonna go with an 8.1. I think this is a phenomenal read. It's definitely a read that you want to be in a good headspace for. Don't already be depressed or anything and want to read Fire Punch.
Yeah.
Because it's just sad and it's dark, but it's so interesting. So
The thing about it though, I agree. I mean, I'm not sure I want to go that high. I'd probably just do like a 7.5. I really like it, don't get me wrong, but I think the lack of like comedy, because there's like one moment I can think of, you know, there's like no lightheartedness from page 1 to whatever the book ends on, you know. So like,
well, I go 8.1 because the way it sets up this story. Because remember, we're just talking about volume 1 here. So like the way it sets up the story and the tone of how this is going to go forth, I think it's written phenomenally. There's nothing in the writing that I feel like is wrong with it, because as far as like how it's going to set up the tone for the rest of the series, I can't give an overall series rating, but I can give a volume 1 rating.
From what I've heard, it stays pretty consistent, like dark and just like a dreary read. You know, like don't get me wrong, it's good and it's got its shonen moments. Like, you know, whenever he does his little fire punch, or whatever, you can definitely tell that, well, not necessarily shonen, but like the company itself that publishes it.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell that it's within that category. I wouldn't say it's necessarily for teenage kids, and that's why it's got the little sig instead of the shonen, which I don't know how many people knew that that's what that meant. It was going to be a darker series.
Yep. It even has like parental advisory, explicit content on the front cover too. So
yeah. I don't know. I forgot where I was going with that.
Talking about the rating of it is what we were going with. But yeah, 8.1 solid for me for a first volume. I'd have to read the rest to give like an actual rating of it. I do really enjoy it. I do plan on finishing it. It's not one that I'm just going to pick up and drop. But for manga readers, definitely check out Fire Punch.
Yeah, I can agree. Like, I really think that you should read it. Like, if you're an avid like reader and you really enjoy series, especially things like even as dark as like Vinland Saga. It's got some pretty graphic stuff in Vinland Saga. I would say Fire Punch is darker. I'm not gonna say that it's not, but like Vinland Saga again, I bring up Chainsaw Man a lot because it is a very similar, it's the same author, yeah. But like just like overall darkness of how the main character is like introduced. Like if you like that type of stuff, then read it. It's a really good book.
Yep. All right, so that's going to wrap up this week. Just kind of going to stay short with it with the volume. Probably get into more of the games, trivia, and stuff like that on our next episode next week. And
I'd say we probably do a review like every other week or so.
Yeah, review and just kind of keep it at a review. But yeah, more games, different anime stuff coming next week. We'll keep you updated.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.